So it all started back in high school. And I still remember the first time me and my friends went out to have our first shot. And as soon as we took the shot, around 15-20 minutes later, the buzz starts to kick in. And let me tell you, the first time the buzz hit, I felt like I was the king of the world. I felt like I could conquer anything. And I had so much confidence. I had so much, all this self-esteem suddenly built up. And I went and walked up to random people. I made conversation. And I really didn't care what other people thought about me. And I chased that feeling, man. I loved how alcohol made me feel. And then I wake up the next morning, the feeling is gone. There's no confidence in me anymore. And there's barely any energy left in me. And I wanted the feeling back. I wanted that feeling of being invincible. So what do? I go out again. I start drinking. And every weekend I used to go have a drink with my friends, get blackout drunk, come back home, wake up the next day with a feeling of regret and a huge headache. But still, I would go out on this continuous cycle of going out every weekend, getting blackout drunk, and waking up next day with a feeling of shame, guilt, and regret. And so this turned from every weekend to every single day because I really enjoyed the feeling and I didn't like how normal life felt to me, especially when you're on alcohol, right? You're on this overdrive and everything's so dizzy, everything's so light, you feel so light. And obviously, you feel like you're invincible, even though you're not. So I really chased that feeling for a really long time. And as several months passed, and even 2-3 years passed, and then one day I come to a realization that I'm not in control anymore. I'm being controlled by some substance that has been, that is so artificial. It's creating all this fake confidence, this fake self-esteem, and the fake conversation skills. Because without alcohol, I was nothing, man. I had so much self-anxiety to go talk to people, and alcohol was just a coping mechanism for me to, escape reality. Now the thing is, people don't drink just for social sake or something, even though there are some people who drink in social situations, but people who get blackout drunk, right, they get drunk because they don't like their own reality. Even though this may sound really harsh, that is the truth. And because I experienced the same thing, I didn't get blackout drunk because it was, something fun to do. I got blackout drunk every single day because I didn't like the reality I was living in and I was trying to escape it. And alcohol was a mechanism for me to, escape so that I don't feel miserable anymore. And one day I wake up, and this was somewhere in 2019. I'm in university and I'm drinking with my friends. And suddenly I realized that I'm not in control anymore. Some other substance is taken over me. I really didn't like that feeling. And I decided to quit. And it is not so easy as it sounds, all right? It took me a lot of effort, but the day I decided to quit alcohol, that was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. Because let me tell you, from that day onwards, my life has been in a uphill rush. Literally, there are so many benefits that you avail, especially when you quit something that was running your life. I was an addict and I didn't take any drugs or didn't go to any therapy or something. I just quit, and it was solely based on my willpower, even though I'm not trying to brag, right? So over the years, I've come to realize that addiction to alcohol, what I had was just a form of energy. And when I put so much energy into alcohol, I was just fueling it. And that was my way of escaping reality. And there's a terminology that goes like, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can only be transferred from one state to another. And that time, it really hit me that I don't have to destroy my addiction. All I had to do was transmute this addictive energy that I have into something else. And that is a key element, guys. And that is how you quit or overcome any addiction. What you have to do is not subdue that energy, but instead use that energy into other activities. And that is exactly what I did. And so in my personal experience, right, I was putting so much energy and time and effort into this alcohol world of mine just so that I can escape reality. All I did was I took that energy and transferred it. And for me, it was singing and songwriting. And that is where I transmuted all that energy that I was using on alcohol and going out and getting drunk. I started putting it into my creative flow, my creative workflow, and it really helped. And that's the same technique which you guys can use, especially if you're trying to overcome any addiction that you have. Just use that energy into a creative output, or if you're into sports, you can try sports. But the only key condition is that you must actually enjoy it more than the alcohol. Now, this may sound really hard because it is really hard to, top that feeling of what alcohol gets you. But you have to try every single day, push yourself a little bit more and find your hobbies. Because when you find your hobbies right, when you find something that you're really interested about, something that doesn't actually ruin your mental clarity, your mental focus, and also your health, find some hobbies that are actually beneficial for you in the long run. You really have to love the process. I really didn't like how I was feeling, how I was chasing this high all the time. I wanted to be much more natural. I wanted to be in control of myself. And I didn't like some other substance controlling me. And I overcame this by transmuting the energy that I had. I just transferred that energy, because when you just quit, right, you can go 3, 4, 5, 6 months, all right. You always hear stories of people relapsing back into their same old addiction patterns because they don't use that amount of energy into something else more productive. And everybody who's watching this, if you feel like your addiction is ruining you, or it's not normal, or people may call you weird names just because you were addicted to something, I would say that it is a gift, because you can use that addictive energy to go work on something that you're really passionate about. You can go work out at the gym, you can go read 7 books a week, you can learn an instrument, and you can put work into any hobby that you like, and you can succeed. The problem with us is we really get obsessed with something. Once we start doing it right, our brain gets locked down and we're so obsessed, and all this obsessive energy is just going insane, and we like to drive that feeling again and again and again. But if we find a way to transfer this energy and transmute it into something productive and something that really helps us grow over a long period of time, then you've hit the jackpot, because there's no stopping you. You still have that obsessive energy and drive, that fuel, to go chase your goals and dreams. And that is how I overcame my alcohol addiction, and that's why I quit. This was a video on my personal journey on why I decided to quit alcohol, and a cool technique and how I overcame it. I hope this helps you, and if you have any questions, you can comment down below. I'll try to answer them, and also try to make a video about it in the future. I don't know what I'm actually going to talk about in this channel. Right now, there's no specific niche, but I would say this is a place where I would like to share my personal experiences, especially on how I overcame certain things such as alcohol, cigarettes, and even social anxiety. And that's it from me, guys. I hope this helps, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.